Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to welcome you to Fatal Distractions. Let's chat. And I am your host, Apostle Gretchen Dixon. I come up every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I have a very special guest tonight. His name is James Jacobs. James, I want to just welcome you to the broadcast tonight and kind of introduce yourself to those who may not know you.
Awesome. Well, Apostle Dixon, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your show. I count it a privilege and honor to be here, be part of this. I am James Jacobs, and I am a believer. I love the Lord, and thank God for His grace and His mercy that He has bestowed on me to do what I do. I am a little bit of everything. Where do I start? I'm a pastor's kid of over 35 years. Been in ministry all my life. All I know is ministry. And I decided at an early age that ministry will be part of what I do in my job in the marketplace. And I took that at the age of 15 to start working with ministries. I started with doing graphics and servicing different ministries in different ways I could, and then grew that into an actual full-fledged business, and been doing that ever since. I have a company called YaLife Media and Marketing, where I specialize in helping small to medium-sized ministries and organizations and small businesses. I have a heart for helping ministries and businesses grow. So I do a lot of, taking my time with different people. And um, I met Lady Dixon. I believe I did an e-blast, and she needed to do is to send out some stuff from events that she had in Austin, and we just connected, and
Mhm.
like spirits, kindred spirits connected, and we've been together since. She's like a mother to me, so she definitely called me, checking on me, and I appreciate the relationship that we've had through these years. That's amazing because we have been knowing each other for quite a long time. I
Mhm.
remember even talking to you when I was in an apartment, so it's been years. I would say
Yeah.
probably anywhere from years we've been knowing each other, if you think about it, because it's something
Mhm.
like that. So, but yes, I definitely love working with ministries. I do this on a daily basis. I currently have a lot of different ways that I help ministries to grow especially during this pandemic. When this pandemic came, I immediately thought of all the ministries that I work with, and I wanted to help them in some way, some form or fashion. So many of them call me, many of them join my Facebook group that I have created, where I just simply share a lot of free information. I try to stay up to breast of what's going on because God has unfortunately blessed me to work in a mega church as well. So I'm able to share a lot of information that a lot of smaller churches do not have access to, and I try to make sure that that ministries of all sizes have access to the same information. And I'm just here to help. That's the biggest thing. I'm here to help, and I do whatever I can. I research whatever I can so I can help ministries grow.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I love about James. Like you said, we met. I was thinking about that today. My husband and I have been in Austin actually 18 years, and I've known him probably at least 15 of those
Hmm.
because when the Lord had me to step out, my initial ministry, women's ministry, is Heart to Heart Women's Ministry. It was birthed in our home church back in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I hosted my very first Heart to Heart Women's Conference. And James saw an advertisement that I did, and he reached out to me, and we connected. And like he said like a mother. I thought I was like an older sister, but I guess
You
I
can
guess
be
like
too.
a mother. Okay, okay. But I just love him and his family. He's a husband, a father, just so many things. And like you said, he helps all sides ministries. He's definitely anointed and gifted in that area. James, one of the things since I know you are what I would call a millennial, what
Mhm.
are some of the trends? What's new? Where should we be headed in media and technology? What's on the horizon for us?
Well, you know what? That is a loaded question. You know that because there's so many because of the pandemic. There is so many opportunities. There was before, but now that everything's digital, the thinking, the mindset has changed. The first thing I would say to anyone before you begin to even dive into all this, because it can be very overwhelming, because there's so
Mhm.
many ways in ministry now you can be on, is to first of all, uh, your mind has to change about ministry, period. Gone are the days of, you can have an event here and there. There's so many great ways you can do it and be in creative ways, sometimes even at home, sometimes even on a call. There's so many
Mhm.
creative things. So I would first, consider your thought process about ministry and consider that the possibilities, that there's so many new possibilities that you can go into. If you have a mindset, then you'll be more willing to want to get and jump into these areas and want to learn. And I know that you, Apostle Dixon, have jumped into many areas, and you've changed, your mindset of ministry, and you've always pivoted. And I use that word a lot because I love that word, and I want people to consider pivoting your ministry that you currently have. So some trends are, many people have online ministries like yourself, is to consider the people that are watching and engage them. Engagement is huge. It's not just important just to be online, but also to engage the people that are watching. How are you communicating with them? How you're engaging with them? How you responding to their comments? It's very important because they're part of your audience. You're part of them as well. And so it's nothing like when you're watching something or you're part of something and you're getting a response from the people that's been part of the broadcast. So one is engagement, definitely engagement. Whatever it takes for you to connect with the people that are watching you, do that. I don't, it's whatever. It doesn't have to be an instant, but it can definitely be something you can do post or after. Some other trends that I see for those who have ministries and churches, is to think about, in your mindset, you have more than one church. If you have a physical in-person church and you've opened up, and then you have your online church, you literally have two campuses, and you have to think it that way, because the people that are online need to be touched differently than the people that are in your service that come in. So you need to consider having an online pastor or a person that's designated to your online services. That's if you have a church setting. If you have a ministry, consider, looking into considering your online as a ministry and engaging like such and pastoring as such, because people um, are afraid to go back in the church, the building, and so you have to use the resources you have. So that goes back to engagement too. I'm seeing so many things trending in ministry, from live services, which I did a couple of them. I developed the live service from beginning to end, to having concerts, to having online prayer meetings. I've seen so many creative things, and it's really about, at the end of the day, asking yourself, God, what do I have currently, and how can I get this out? From there, you can use, it's not necessarily about how much you do, it's how effective you do things. Because people can be on streaming everywhere, but if you're not effective, what's the use? I would tell people to start where you are. Start with Facebook and then kind of grow. Get the audience, get the buy-in, and then you can kind of grow from there. And for me, I love when people see your growth. Sometimes when you try to get up there quickly, there's a lot of
Mhm.
responsibility of deciding you want to be live in all these platforms and stuff. There's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. But if you grow, you can maintain it, and people can see your consistency and your excellence as you grow. There's so many things. I actually have a book called Media Technology and Ministry, and I encourage you, if you can, go to my website and download the book. It talks about a lot of things in media, from the basic stuff about, flyers, graphics. A lot of people are using flyers and graphics, but
Mhm.
is your flyer and graphic really portraying? Is it saying what you want it to say? You know, People have flyers all day, but is the colors matter?
Mhm.
Objects mattered. Did you put on there? If it's a worship experience, why do you have a dove on there? It just, you
Yeah.
have to consider these options when you're
Yes.
doing a lot of different things. And it sounds more basic, but you have to take inventory of everything you're doing, you know. I've seen a lot of ministries do different thing graphics and they're not consistent. Like, you know, you see flyers, but it's not, when the event comes, the flyer doesn't reflect all the stuff that's in the events. Like your logo is different and everything doesn't look consistent. Like, for instance, you don't see McDonald's changing the arch all the time. The arch
Right.
is always the golden arch and is
Mm-hmm.
always the same. And so your brand has to stays consistent. And so there's a lot of areas of branding, but also a lot of areas of streaming that you can do. And those are main things I would say to you, right? Say to anyone that's looking to, right, really take their ministry or their online to the next level is take an inventory of what you're currently doing, you can be able to maximize and take that to the next level. It could be simply as a research. If you are doing one platform, how do you make that platform better? And it could be simply as Googling or going online and seeing how you can make this better. A lot of people, I don't know if you've seen using like StreamYard or using Be Live. These are like other services outside of Zoom that you can use that you can be effective and in excellence too. So I can go a lot of places, but again, those are trends that I'm seeing currently.
Oh, that's good. Going back to the flyer, because I've learned a few things from back when I was having conferences with a flyer. A flyer is just not enough. The
Right.
person needs to hear your voice. How do you uh, marry the two? Like, for instance, with to get a better audience. Like, for instance, even with me, yeah, I post a flyer about who the guest is going to be on the Fatal Distractions Let's Chat.
Mhm.
How could I take that to the next level as opposed to just a flyer?
So what I've noticed in my developing small ministries and growing ministries, and it's about starting with your core, right? How do you engage the people that invest and enjoy your ministry? And that's when there's this lady. Her name is Nona Jones, and maybe you may have know her, may not know her, but Nona Jones is the she is the faith-based organizer for Facebook. Uh, and she is a Christian and she's a believer. She's actually a pastor's wife, and she has an amazing story of how she got on become on Facebook, and she is one of the top leaders, and she is responsible for all the faith based programming for Facebook, and she lives in Florida, but the office is in LA. How she got her that job, where she travels back and forth, that's only God for her to do what she does.
Mhm.
And she is a known speaker, and you might have seen her face if you look her up. But I went to a conference, and she told me something that really kind of changed my mind when it comes to like Facebook and engagement. And she told me that she shared with us the power of a Facebook group, and that's how I started the
Mm.
Facebook group of media and pastors, because in that Facebook group, you now, when people join the Facebook group, you now have a core of people that are committed to your ministry, committed to the things that you have, so that when
Mhm.
you have events, you can then post into that event. Because when you post on social media, it just kind of goes to everybody, right?
Yes.
And you may
Mhm.
have thousands of friends that they call friends online, but they may not be
Mhm.
connected to your ministry. They may
Yes.
not have a association to your ministry. So what I use is the Facebook group, where I have developed over 200 pastors that connect with what I'm doing. And so when I send out my stuff in that group, I know that 200 pastors, they're going to respond to that information. And so using the power of Facebook group, I think it will help you create a group of gathering people, so that when you do have an event, you don't have to go through all this rigmarole, right? And try to see,
Mhm.
okay, is this flyer even effective? But if I put that flyer in that group, knowing that it's like 70, 80 people that I know that's part of this group, I know I have
Mhm.
a greater chance of people joining and be a part of what I'm doing. And
That's
that's not
good.
just for people who have ministries, but people who have churches too. If you have a church, consider creating a group. Because in that, when you post in that group, you know you have a greater chance of people responding or
Mhm.
responding to your event or what you're trying to do. Um, And so that's what I would say to many people that are creating it, creative it, is find ways that you can use these groups, e-blast. You know, you have a core people that enjoy it, e-blast them so that you can kind of narrow it down. Because again, posting online, you just post and like,
Right.
you know, you get likes. Well, that's great, but that like does not determine if they're going to come and watch your show live, right?
Hmm.
Um, that's just a couple of things you can do, and I could share more, but that's a few of them.
What about how do you engage the people? I know there are different ways, like you said, engaging, because I could start a group, but
Mhm,
if I don't engage the people, how do I get the people to join the group?
mhm, mhm.
Or how to engage
Well,
the people, just even like you said with the flyer, for those that are
mhm,
listening, they say, well, I put a flyer out, because I hear that often with some of the people that I mentor.
mhm,
They're like, well, I put
mhm.
a flyer out, nothing happens, or I posted this new t-shirt that I made, and no one bought it. So how would someone who's not comfortable, that has never engaged anyone, how would they go about doing that?
Well, I think the first thing is you got to overcome your fear. One, you got to be bold. You know, let's go back to spiritual. God has not given the spirit of fear, so we have to
Right.
first of all be bold enough to go after it. Okay, so there's a little bit of faith that has to happen to this thing. You know, faith the size of mustard seed, and that faith that God, you know, you have to put it in His hands, and He will then blow on it and multiply it. Now, in that engagement, you have to understand that you have to have people that like what you like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say you are have a ministry and your ministry is you have a book and it's on children's Christian book and it's on children who love God and love music. And so you have to consider posting a lot about music and children and how music and children connect and how different music brings joy and it you have to find different resources to embellish and to reflect what you're trying to do so people can like that. I'm like, okay, I like that. I understand how music connects. And from there, you keep posting and then create the group where then you have a group of people who like what you like. And you continue to post different things that connect and reflect what your ministry is about. If your ministry is, of course, fatal distraction and it's focused on women that's gone through different things, then you need to there needs to be some type of campaign where you're sharing different things from the book, or there's some things that you're sharing that connects with fatal distraction, and you got those are seeds that you're sowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing. You know, when I created my group, it's not a thing that you got to pay. I offered it free, and then I
Mm-hmm.
asked a couple pastors joined. But then I asked the pastors, hey, if you know any other pastors that are looking for free resources, please tell them to join. And within what
Mm-hmm.
time I look up was another 50 people that joined it. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? So you have to have something that's worth one people wanting, but at the same time, you got to be willing to come up with things that connect with your purpose that you can share so people can want to learn and search more about your purpose. And so it's a little bit of work that has to be done. You can't just say, oh, I got a t-shirt line and I just posted and I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, you
Mm-hmm.
people don't like it. But well, tell me more about this t-shirt line. Tell me what's the purpose of this t-shirt line. Is this t-shirt line has purpose to it? Is it focusing on women? Is it empowering men? Okay, so we got to find out ways that we can be able to use reinforcement words. Let's start posting about uh, women and the empowerment of women and anointing of women, and then as you connect that, you connect it with the T-shirt. So people you have to explain it to some people. You have to walk people through of your purpose and the reason what you do. But posting a T-shirt may not explain fully the purpose of the brand, the purpose of what you're doing. You're gonna have to be consistent
Mm-hmm.
about that.
Yes, that's one of the things I guess coach some people on, because they say, well, I'm not a salesperson or no one buys from me, but we have to, that's part of marketing. And marketing is one of those things that you have to be bold enough, like you said, and assured of what you have, that you don't mind stepping out there and and even sometimes being bold and say that, and, you need this. This is something that will
Mhm.
bless you. that type
And
of
being,
thing.
the word is consistent. Consistent, knowing that, when there is a statistic that say that most businesses don't last more than 3 years. And so there's a level of consistency that has to happen, a level of boldness, a level of, I got to do better. And at the same time, when a person is, let's say, cannot or not seeing the results, to me it's not a to me, I don't look at it as a failure if you don't see results. What I look at it is, if I don't see results, there's something that I may need to adjust. There's some things I
Hmm.
need to learn. There's some things that are not connecting, why this is not, because if it's truly what God has you to do, and you told me that God told you to do it, or you have a desire to do it, then God will give you provision for the vision. So there
Hmm.
might be some
Yes.
things that may not be connecting, that you need to ask God to show me. I need to maybe take some time in prayer, and you, God, to reveal those things to me so that I can know. Maybe it's that I need to connect with another graphic designer. Maybe it's that I need to research some people that I can partner with so that my vision can move forward. So not everything necessarily has to be, maybe have to be you in the limelight. Maybe God's trying to say, maybe you need to partner up with someone so that you can be prepared and be ready for the next thing. So I mean, it's a lot of maturity has to happen when it comes to branding and marketing. But we're thinking spiritually, there's some things that you got to do on the spiritual side and on the physical side as well.
Well, that's good. That's really good. For those of you that tune in, you're watching Fatal Distractions. Let's chat with me, Apostle Gresham Dixon, with James Jacobs, who is the CEO of YaLife Media and Marketing. One of the things, James, that I have learned and is that regardless if someone supports you or not, you got to believe in it and keep pushing.
Mhm.
I've seen people that said, well, no, my friends didn't buy or my family didn't support me. My advice to them is that you got to go when no one else does, and God will send those that you are designed for. And for me, oftentimes it's not my family, it's not those that are the close friends you think, but God will send strangers. And I know marketing is your area. Can you elaborate a little bit on some of the tools or skills to help someone, just starting out, how to even market a little bit?
Oh man, you need to get this book if you're watching. It talks a little bit about media and marketing, um, but it sounds simple, but it needs to start with the basics. Is you know your logo, the colors, all that is so important. I think that we rush to get a lot of stuff done, but we don't
Mhm.
sit back and think about the logo. We don't think about the colors. We don't think about, really sit down and think about, okay, how do we want things to look, right? And I think
Mhm.
we have to slow down just a little bit and then ask ourselves, at the end of the day, when we look at a product or a service, and we do something, does this reflect the overall purpose of what I'm trying to do? So yeah, definitely look at colors. I mean, look at your logo, um, and then from there, align yourself with a graphic designer that has the time and the skill to pour out enough so that you can get you to the next level, right?
Mhm.
um, and understand some things will require a little bit of investment. And I think that we have to consider that. I think
Mhm.
everything is not free. Let's be honest. Some things
That's right.
that you're going to have to do, you're going to have to pay for. If you want it done in quality, if you want it done right, you're going to have to do some type of investment. I'm not saying go broke, but I'm saying consider there's some investment so that if you want to step out and be different and have a brand and have a website and you have to consider you stepping out and making the investment and align yourself with a great
Mhm.
designer that can be able to pull stuff out, especially if you're not a creative person. Because I have a lot of clients who are not a creative person and they lean a
Mhm.
lot on me. That's why I take my clients serious, because a lot of them lean a lot, and my hand is on the fact that this person is starting a ministry, and my job is to create this logo and the stuff so they'll be using it for the rest of their ministry life. And so to me, that's heavy. And so I try my best to consider what, uh, when they ask me these, what appeals to people's eyes, what elements appeals to people's eyes, right?
Mhm.
I do a lot of Googling and looking at current churches and ministries, and I do a lot of research because to me, the more research you have, the better
Yes.
decision that you can make, you know? And so I research a lot of different things of ministries and branding. And I join a lot of groups so that I can see what is out there. I can see what
Mhm.
other designers are seeing because it gives you motivation. Especially when the clients ask me, I want a graphic, I want a website. I ask them, what are you looking at right now? What are you seeing? Because whatever you're
Mhm.
seeing, I want to reflect something similar to what you're seeing. So I
Yes.
ask people to send me a sample because obviously you want a flyer logo, you've seen something, right? Or if you
Mhm.
haven't, let me push you to see something so I can pull out of you what it is that you really are, what are you envisioning, right?
Yes.
So I would say, and the basics is really color, your logo, and then from there, making sure everything matches.
Yes.
It's gotta match.
Yes.
Again, I can't go back to McDonald's. The arch is not black. It's gold, and they ain't gonna
Mhm.
change. Being consistent down the line, and then about the question is about people ask me, well, social media, should I join Twitter, should I join this? It's really, at the end of the day, it's not how many social accounts did you have. It's about, if you have them, can you maintain them? Can you
Mhm.
manage them? Are they updating? Are you consistently engaging them? If you're not that type of person, then you need to consider staying at one or two, and then
Mhm.
as you grow, you can be able to manage more, right? Of course, you can
Right.
you can hire other people to manage your stuff, but if you're starting, you may not have the finances for that. And there's a lot of software out there that can do that, where you can manage multiple accounts at once. And again, that's in my book. If you want to download it, talks about all that in there.
That's
And I
good.
actually
That's
have stuff on
good.
my website that talks about the social media stuff as well.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because that's one of the things I have heard recently, that you need to be on all these different social media, outlets. But like you said, because we all have life and businesses and family, just everything ministry. So that's a challenge. And then sometimes starting out, you may not have the resources to
Hmm.
hire someone. How
Hmm.
could someone go about finding someone that could manage those things for them? And then how do I know if that person speaks my language? Like if I have someone that's on Twitter, that because if they're doing Twitter on my behalf. So how do I find someone that can manage those social media accounts for me? Or like you said, or do I need to just download your book and look at the software that maybe I can do it?
Well, definitely, if you're a person that you're on a budget, you certainly can go, and there are apps on your phone that you can man. Hootsuite is one of them. I mean, there's a whole bunch of softwares out there that can manage multiple accounts,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do, and in those accounts you can do you can post, so you can sit and just schedule all your posts to go out at a
Mm-hmm.
certain time, and you're done for the week, right? So you can
Mm-hmm.
schedule stuff. If you're that type of person, if you don't have the time, but you know how to manage stuff, then consider that. But if you're not a person, you need to get in there, but you ain't got the time to do that. Yeah, there are like a lot of things you can research. Yes, you can use all these other companies like Fiverr or whatever. But for when it comes to social media management, you really need somebody who you that understands what you're doing, because everybody, you can do like these people overseas, they may not
Mm-hmm.
can reflect what you want, right?
Yes.
I know that for me, we're just adding, I was just telling before we got on here that I'm adding more people on my team, and we'll be doing some social media management. So we just started a couple as we go. And we do as well because we understand that there's a certain language that got to be said and posted. And if you don't understand that and you give it to somebody overseas, you know, like they
Yeah.
may not understand that language. So consider,
Mm-hmm.
searching online. I mean, I got this saying, and I said it in all my classes. It's called, "When in doubt, Google it out." You can Google pretty much a lot of stuff and get an answer
Uh-huh.
too. And unfortunately, I make a lot of money on people who simply don't have time. I don't want to do the simple things
Mhm.
that you can do on your own. And by all means, I can do them for you, no problem. But there's a lot of
Mhm.
things these days you can do. You just need a little bit of time, and it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice, but it'll pay off at the end financially, but also you'll see the results.
Wow, that's good. That's good. So, what are some of the things that that your company offers?
So I'm a one-stop shop, I didn't want to be, but God has given me so gifted to do a lot of things. Yes, of course, we do graphics, we do print work, or as graphics work, we do web design. And just about 7 years ago, we launched our division where we do video editing. So we do a lot of production. During the COVID, we've done several different video productions. I've been blessed to do some stuff under the Church of God in Christ, as well as other non-denominational churches. And so I've been blessed to do that. Did a lot of different interviews and editing for a lot of people online. So we do that as well. But we also get into software development. So we're creating software for churches, custom software church for business. We do web apps. So we do a whole lot of stuff. On the ministry side, I've created like a ministry 3.0, 2.0 package where you get postcards, business cards. And then I got some more virtual stuff that we do with streaming and stuff. So we pretty much do a whole lot of stuff in media. So really, whatever you need, we can pretty much do it. And I'm really excited about this other thing we just launched. If you go to my website, you'll see it, where we're partnering up with another a company to offer people who are looking to develop programming and get grants and get funding for their
Mhm.
organization. We know that we're in because of this social unrest and the things that are going on,
Mhm.
and that it has presented us a lot of opportunities where a lot of people are pledging and giving to organizations, particularly African American organizations and Black owned business and minorities as a whole. Have opportunities to get funding, but a lot of times that these businesses and nonprofits are not in the position to be able to get these fundings because they either do not have the right paperwork or they don't have the right deck or marketing material so they can
Mhm.
present to these people for funding. And then a lot of them are offering partnerships with programming where they have a program but it's not written out. So
Right.
we partner with a lady, her name is Brandy Spencer, and she's helps with me to help people develop programming and develop different things they need so they can be prepared and positioned so they can get the funding, because really the funding's there. I mean, think about
Mhm.
all the things going on.
Yes.
There's no reason why you can't have a business plan or a marketing plan or a program if God gave you a program to work with women or work with children or work with addiction people or whatever. You need to have some type of
Mhm.
program written, ready to go, because someone will be available to fund that, and it
Yes.
brings jobs, which they're trying to bring more jobs back that
Mhm.
was lost. So, well, I'm really excited about that because I think that the church has to stand and be um, that vehicle that helps the
Mhm.
community get back to what they need to and help those that are in need.
Wow. Well, I know you do predominantly a lot of things with churches, but for those that are listening that are young entrepreneurs, that I know a couple of people that are wanting to launch their business.
Mhm.
Is that something that you can help with as well outside of
Mhm.
church? So do you do
Mhm.
church and non-church?
I do non-church absolutely, because the cool thing about being in church, because that there's a lot of people that are Christians and believers that also have side businesses too.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a pastor who has a limousine company. I got, Christian folks who got, catering services and all kinds of stuff. So yes, I work with small businesses, and a lot of times they're believers that have decided God's given them this great business idea, and so they go to me to help them out too. So I definitely work with a lot of small businesses. A lot of chunk of my work is helping them, and I love that part of them because they know how to help both their ministry and the business at the same time. But then I also have I have a lot of nonprofits that I work with too. I'm just working with another lady who deals with healing children who through abuse, and I'm working with her to develop her website, and she desires to get funding. So we're working with a program. So I work with people who have just nonprofits or small businesses, and whatever I can to help, I do that.
Well, good, good. How can people reach you? You mentioned your website. What is
Mhm.
your web address?
I got a couple of them, so just here's a couple here. So if you, my main website is www.yalifemedia.com. So that's where you'll find majority of all the stuff that I've said today. If you want more information about this book specifically, you can go to www.letsgrowchurch.com, www.letsgrowchurch.com, and you can find more information about this book. But the main website, YaLifeMedia.com, you'll find everything that I was talking about, a lot of samples work and some things that I do. Plus, you can join, if you want to join my media and pastors and leaders media group. You can go and you can look me up, and I can accept you into our group so you can learn and be creative and be on the cutting edge of what's going on, because I'm helping churches right now reopen, and as far as what they need to do as far as design flyers so they can be CDC compliant,
Mhm.
and some creative ways that how to open up, registering people as they come in and making sure that they have the right amount of people in the facility. So
Mhm.
again, like I said, I'm doing a lot of different things both in small businesses and churches. So you can contact me on any of those two websites.
That's great. That's great. And his name is James Jacobs. So you can find him. How can they find you on the different social media outlets?
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook. You can just look up James Jacobs. You can find my company, just searching YaLife Media Marketing on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram at YaLife Media Marketing. I'm also on Twitter um, at the J Roy and at YaLife Media Marketing. And you can find me on Pinterest. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty much everything. Just the search Your Life
Mhm.
Media Marketing. I'm there, and I usually respond. If you don't message me on Facebook, I don't respond quickly on that. You got to email me, because so many people message me on Facebook. It's that messenger. Sometimes I don't get to that, but definitely if you inbox me or email me, I'll definitely respond to you.
That's good. That's good. Well, thank you so much, James, for being on tonight. Those of you that are listening, you're listening. Our guest tonight was James Jacobs with Your Life Media and Marketing. Reach out to him. Have any questions? You can email him. What is your email address, James?
Sure, you can email me at james@yourlifemedia.com. That's james@yourlifemedia.com.
Well, and there you have it. Thank you so much, James, for being on. And yeah, he until he got so busy, he used to do my flyers. He's the one that did my flyers, my website,
And
and
your flyers, by the
actually,
way, look very nice, by the way. I love
thank you. And you know it wasn't me, so I'm not
that.
that creative, like you said. I know that God has gifted me in other areas, so I go to those that are gifted in the creativity area. And so he was the one with the websites and flyer, and actually designed the book cover for. I have a devotional called 40 Days to an Empowered Life, and so he designed the book cover for that book. So yeah, he does a lot of different things, and most of all, he's a believer and he's anointed for what he does. So thank you again, James, for being on tonight, and thank you for those that have tuned in and that will see the replay. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Reach out to James Jacobs at Your Life Media, and you guys have a great evening. And thank you again, James. Good night.
Good night.